All right, people, so let's talk about this. Deontay Wilder versus Alexander Usyk to become world champion. I've heard a lot of comments. I've seen a lot of things being said. I've heard a lot of things being said. Read these comments, and I'm going to tell you guys, this fight has nothing to do with legacy. This fight has nothing to do with someone earning a spot to become world champion. We've seen several fighters get overlooked because the powers that be don't want that person to be in that top spot. They'll book them on a card, put them in matches that even if this person wins, we're going to keep throwing obstacles at this person. But if the more popular name loses, we'll find a way to try to reel them back in. We've seen evidence of that. A perfect example is when Joseph Parker beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder was supposed to be the lion that was getting fed a rib cage called Joseph Parker. But Joseph Parker went in there and he beat Deontay Wilder's ass. And what happened? Oh, Deontay's not the same. Oh, I don't know. Even Turkey Al-Sheikh got to the point where he said he didn't like what he saw, so he didn't want to put Deontay on the next card. He wanted Deontay to get right. Okay. We come to find out Zhele Zhang and Deontay basically was offered a contract. Zhang signed it, and remember, he told Wilder, don't overthink it, man. Just take the fight. No response from Wilder. In fact, Wilder didn't even say, hey, nah, I want a rematch with Parker. Now, to tell us you weren't the same, this was wrong, that was wrong, you were in the cryo chamber too long, blah, 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 but you don't want to go back and fight that guy that beat you. So Malik Scott tells us after they finally decide to sign, this brings the best out of us. I love this fight because Zhang is he's a big old target. You can't miss. And he's going to bring the best out of Wilder and blah, blah, blah. He went there and got knocked out within 4 rounds by Zhang. Okay. What do? Turkey Al-Sheikh offers Deontay Wilder Lawrence Okolie at Bridgerweight. So how this works is this. Is a plan A and a plan B. Lawrence Okolie has the belt, but it's not like he's some super popular guy. And hey, man, this is give Wilder a chance to get a title back. And it's not about, we don't know if he's retiring or not, so it's not about him going out with the win. It's, hey, now that he's got a belt, we can make some fights happen at Bridgerweight where Wilder's name will probably bring, more eyes to this division. But if he loses, then that makes Lawrence Okolie's stock go up, and we have to learn how to talk about these fighters and these fights in a way where the next fighter will look better in this sense. Because, hey, man, if he loses this, then why go back to heavyweight? Who's there for him if he can't beat a Bridgerweight guy, right? So there's always a plan A, plan B in that sense. And then what happens to Joseph Parker, though? Like I said before, he doesn't get the shot at AJ, and it's a $50 million, $100 million fight, $50 million apiece. Didn't Eddie Hearn tell us Turkey Al-Sheikh said after Wilder lost? He said, who can we replace Wilder with that's going to have huge interest like that? And Eddie Hearn said right off the bat, Francis Ngannou. He told us this. Now, the night that Anthony Joshua fought Otto Wallin and Deontay fought Joseph Parker, you guys remember the backstage scene when Wilder was getting his hands wrapped and he's being interviewed, and the guy says, so if Anthony Joshua, because people are saying if the fight don't happen, it's probably going to be because of AJ, and was saying if he loses, is the fight, then there's no fight, and Wilder goes, no, if he loses, there's no need for what? If he loses, then there's no fight, there's no need for that. Okay, that's a double standard. But what did Wilder say when he went on that that show the next day? I'm thinking we still fighting. Turkey Ali Sheikh made it clear to both men, both camps, both of you have to win. How stupid of an event would that be? This guy just got his ass beat, but the winner's not going to fight AJ, the loser is. And out of his own mouth, if AJ loses, then there's no need for the fight. No, then there's no fight. But he thought they were still fighting. Okay. So, here we are. Here we are. Joseph Parker has one more hurdle that they throw at him. And that hurdle basically defeated Joseph Parker, Fabio Wardley. But Fabio Wardley doesn't get a shot against Usyk. You want to know why? Because his name doesn't ring bells. And even though Wilder has lost several times and been knocked out, there may be more of an interest in a Usyk versus Wilder fight. Now, what we'll do is put the information out early. Let's see how many people cling to this buzz. Let's see how many people, how much interest is shown. Now, if this doesn't generate a real strong interest, we're going to have to try to build the best undercard that we can or go with another challenger. What does this have to do with legacy? Just to be able to say, I beat AJ, Fury, Dubois. You understand what I mean? And now Deontay Wilder. When Wilder's last opponent was ranked 238 in the world. Fabio Wardley's last opponent was Joseph Parker, a guy that beat Deontay Wilder. Why doesn't Wilder have all these obstacles thrown in front of him? See, this is all about, let's try to make as much money as we possibly can off these fighters. And Usyk is not going to be around too much longer, right? So now it's all about, okay, your legacy is cemented. Usyk, this isn't about, yo, I'm hungry, I'm a young, hungry lion. No, let's monetize the best way we can. Let's find a guy that has respect on his name. But hey, man, guess what? That can possibly be a big draw. And even though Wilder got his ass beat by Parker, he beat a guy ranked 238 in the world last. He might be that guy. Let's see what kind of buzz it generates. I've heard the fight is on. I've heard it's guaranteed. But then I see a video of Wilder saying, I accept the challenge. So until we see a press conference and we see advertisements, okay. But that's what this is. Otherwise, if this was about legacy, Usyk would be fighting Fabio Wardley. He would be fighting, Moses Atama. I'm a show. Okay, this is the most promising up and coming rising star in heavyweight boxing right now. I'm going to beat him. Or Fabio Wardley beat the guy that I was supposed to fight in Joseph Parker. I'm going to beat him because he earned that. And guess what? There's no guarantee that Joseph Parker would have still got the fight. But how do you go, even if he would have beat Fabio, so how do you skip the guy that beat Wilder to choose Wilder? So all of the things that you hear being said when you realize this isn't Usyk talking, this is, content creators and podcasters running their mouths trying to make sense out of this shit without taking credit away from anybody. No, let's look at it for what it is. Wilder has not earned a shot. Anthony Joshua, who lost to Usyk twice, then got knocked out by Daniel Dubois, did not earn a third fight. For what? Him beating Jake Paul last night does not earn him a shot. Fury got beat twice by him. He doesn't deserve a shot. So let's just pick and choose and make a storyline and fabricate some bullshit narrative as to why Wilder versus Usyk is a legit fight. Because even though Wilder may not be the same, even though him and Usyk are like the same age, you know what will happen? People still will think maybe he'll still have that right hand. This has nothing to do with legacy. When guys fight in their primes or guys are at the same age group to where, but they're both still effective, that's something different. It's not like Wilder's out here doing what Usyk is doing, and that's winning fights and winning convincingly. He's out here fighting guys and losing, and then fight a guy ranked 238 in the world. So what type of opponent ranked 238 in the world puts you in a position to fight for the world title? But when you look at how screwed up boxing actually is, I can't say Usyk is wrong, no more wrong for fighting Wilder than the next person is for fighting for multi-millions of dollars, because they fighting for their money. So, of course, they're going to get the money up and a title will be on the line. Do I fault Wilder for taking the fight? No. Now, if Wilder gets beat to the point where he gets embarrassed, like really beat up badly, like the way how Dubois got embarrassed, and then you have to look at the situation like this. You don't want to hear Wilder make excuses. You don't want to hear no fans making excuses for Wilder. You don't want to hear nothing about no cryo chamber no more, no whatever the fuck. I didn't feel right, or my legs was going. You don't want to hear none of that bullshit. Oh, Usyk's fist felt harder than a normal fist. We don't want to hear any of that. The reality is, if a fighter can tell you things was wrong before the bell rung, or the training camp, that went wrong, then that means they knew more than likely they wasn't going to win, but they was going to go collect that money regardless, and didn't even go in there and try or whatever. You know what I find really funny though? I looked at Wilder. He was talking to Shannon Briggs, and Shannon Briggs and Wilder had a little smoke at one point. And Shannon was, they're joking back and forth. And this is when Shannon's telling everybody he's fighting Rampage Jackson or whatever. And so what happens is he's talking to Wilder. He says to Wilder, "You don't lose, you learn." Yo, I like that. Yo, that's yeah. And he's telling Shannon how he's saying some real shit, and he can see it in his eyes. He's trying to give Wilder tips on how to fight Usyk, and how to catch the glove and pull it back and all that, shut up for the right hand on him, all this shit. And I'm looking at how Wilder is so locked into everything Shannon is telling him. And then Wilder says, "See, I gotta admit though, man, I ain't been watching film study, and I remember I told you guys years ago I can tell these guys don't study film because they don't do shit that used to work, like it won't, like obviously like it don't work. No, they just, it's a lot of things. It's simple. It's just a lot of things, a lot that they just don't do anymore, right? You ask a guy like Tank Davis, what do you think about Mike Tyson as a fighter? And he says, I never seen him fight, but I heard he's supposed to be like one of the GOATs and stuff. Or Ali, you heard of these, but we used to constantly do film study. We watched everybody. It didn't matter if we liked you or didn't like you as a fighter. We watched because we learned from you. We studied. We saw, how people got in trouble, how they set shots up, why he did this, why it's not good to do. Like we studied and watched everybody. This generation doesn't do that. They think flash and flare will beat skillful, determined fighters. Especially, no. You have what I see with most of these fighters, they condition out, but they can't take it. And believe me, that mental toughness that you have to have in there is not the same as you just throwing some fast, flashy punches. Chris Colbert learned that shit the hard way. And these guys will put themselves on the same level as a Ray Leonard, as a Terry Norris, as a Marvin Hagler, as a Roberto Duran, a Wilfredo Benitez, a Salvador Sanchez. They put the same, Muhammad Ali or Ray Robinson, and it's like, bro, you are not in an era that you're even being tested that way to even put yourself in that in those categories. But hey, at the end of the day, right? This is the new era of boxing. And these guys, they talk and they say these things. And you look at their resumes, who the fuck have you beat even, like, what have you actually done to even put yourself, to make you think that you asking for 20 million, you asking for this amount of money, and you can't even sell out a fucking arena where you're from. All of these kinds of different things. They're basing how good a boxer is based on how many tickets he can sell instead of what he's doing from bell to bell. And it's useless. It makes no sense to even compare yourself anyway because you can't fight these guys. And then you don't even want to fight the guys in your era. Now, I respect what Usyk has done, and I've never seen Usyk back down from fights and say he don't want like he's scared to fight a guy, whatever. I don't believe at all that this is a Usyk situation. I believe this is more of a hey, the team around him telling him you don't need to fight with Fabio. Fabio doesn't draw. You know, I mean, even if you fought the guy in the UK, we want bigger. We want bigger money. We want that's what this is. That's exactly what this. It has nothing to do with legacy. This is all about let's make the biggest amount of money we can make. And like I said, let's see how many people cling to this fight. What people failing to realize, both of these guys are like 40 years old. You understand what I'm saying? Wilder hasn't impressed anybody in a long ass time. Your fans telling you you're great and calling you champion, we still support and all that. Okay, that has nothing to do with overall you coming to the ring to fight for the world championship and being able to actually deliver. And the fact of the matter is, right, after Usyk will go in there and beat the shit out of Wilder, what does it actually do for Usyk? Yeah, his resume will tell you. Yeah, he beat all of the guys that were the top guys of that. You know, he doesn't need a Wilder fight. He didn't even need a Joseph Parker fight. But I felt like, hey, if you're gonna fight anybody, fight Joseph because Joseph was winning fights back to back. You understand what I mean? And then he lost to Fabio. So let's skip the guys that earn a fight, but we're going to defend against whoever draws the biggest money. That's the dance partner we're looking for, not who's actually the better opponent, who's the bigger draw. That's what this is. Wilder didn't earn anything. If Anthony Joshua, if it was announced tomorrow that he's fighting Usyk, I don't feel like he earned shit to fight Usyk again. But at the end of the day, like I said, it's so much clown shit. I don't pick and choose clown shit. You understand what I'm saying? So for the people that's going, oh, this fight's okay, or I'm cool with this fight, but not that fight. Okay, well, if you're not cool with a particular fight because you don't think a fighter involved earns it, it makes it different because now all of a sudden here's a fighter that you like that's in that position where he's fighting for something he didn't earn. This is what boxing has become, man. Let's not forget, before Fury and before AJ, Wilder was trying to fight, or at least saying he wanted to fight Francis Ngannou. Roy Jones at one point was trying to fight Anderson Silva. You understand what I mean? But it's funny because everybody talk about Conor versus Floyd. Why? Because that fight was major. It was $300 million for Floyd and 120 million for Conor, something like that. 100 million, yeah. So at the end of the day, it's funny, like I said, how we pick and choose what's a good fight and what's not a good fight, even though the person involved, they're in the same situation. It's just you like this person. So for a guy like Usyk, who doesn't have to fight anymore, but if he wants to keep fighting, that's all on him and every other fighter for that matter. But when we talk about earning stuff, man, there's so many fights where a fighter didn't earn shit. So, I mean, I'm not going to look at a Wilder versus Usyk fight like, oh, this fight shouldn't happen. No, because there's a lot of fights that I feel like they happen, and I don't understand why they happen logically. But when you understand what's going on behind the scenes, and okay, cool. And this is a fight right here, man, where, like, honestly, man, what do you think Wilder's going to do? What's supposed to happen? All of a sudden, Wilder's going to come out, his legs are stronger, huh? His skills are just, his head, everything. All of a sudden, Wilder's just a better fighter. It's going to be the same Wilder that we've been seeing. The same Wilder. And when he can't land that shot, when Usyk doesn't go down or whatever, regardless to whether he landed or not, and he gets picked apart and get beat, what is the excuse that people are going to say? Yeah, but Wilder ain't been the same for a long time. Okay, then if you can say that after he get his ass whooped, why going into the fight you think it's a good fight? No, I was just saying maybe he'll land the right hand. Well, even if that would be the case, it's like you're depending on him to win by luck. And you see, this is what boxing has become. So I don't care if it's AJ, I don't care if it's Usyk, if it's Crawford, I don't care who it is. all of these fighters are going to take a fight when big money's involved. And not only that, even if it's a fight that's a disgrace to the sport, they'll take it simply because. See, when I did the Jake Paul video, which you guys will see it, I don't want to, talk about it too much because I already, well, like I said, you guys are quick to credit somebody like with this moral. Ain't no moral fucking victory, nigga. Ain't no. Do you see that as a category on your fucking win-loss record? Huh? Huh? You see a W for win. You see an L for losses. You see a D for draws. You see a no C for no contest. Do you ever fucking see a fucking MV for moral victory? This is the mentality of a loser. So even when Shannon Briggs says things like you don't lose, you learn. Oh, that's what the L stands for on your win-loss record? Learn? So wait, for every fucking fighter that says that's true, you don't lose, you learn. Why do you come out your face and say, I beat you, you lost to me, to your opponents that you beat? So they didn't learn, they lost, but you didn't lose, you learned. Bullshit. All this trying to psych yourself up type of stuff, trying to make yourself feel better about losing. All this garbage. There's no such thing as no moral fucking victory. That's just, see, words we find labels to put on. Actions we find we have words that we use to describe actions and certain things. In terms of this moral victory shit, no. No, it's not a category, and that's not what we fight for. Moral victory. Jake Paul didn't lose. Jake Paul gained. I don't give a fuck how you feel about Jake Paul personally. All that dumb shit y'all are trying to defend. Oh man, he went there with AJ of all people, and when Jake Paul was talking that shit, how many of y'all was saying, Jake, I don't agree with that shit you're saying. AJ gonna fuck you up. No, you guys were sitting up here thinking that it was possible he was gonna win. And even if you thought he was gonna lose, the type of shit he was talking, you would think he was gonna go in there and at least fight. You're okay with the fact he didn't even try to fight. That he went there and just ran and threw very few punches. And ran and held and fell to the floor, pretended to hurt his ankle, all these things. So you're just a Jake Paul fan. I don't care about how you personally feel. Your fucking stupid explanation trying to rationalize this shit don't change the facts. Going out on your shield is not going in here holding and running. And then somehow he showed incredible heart because he ran. This is the fucking generation you motherfuckers in. So there's nothing that you puppies gonna fucking tell me that I need to hear from you, because all you're fucking doing is giving your personal glazing ass opinions on a fucking guy who came in. Oh, now when you call him a YouTuber and say he's an entertainer, not a fighter. Oh, but he beat this guy and that. Oh, all right. But when he gets his ass kicked by AJ, now all of a sudden he's a fucking entertainer and not a fighter. We already knew this. This is what we tell you guys. You guys applaud shit because you like certain, don't give a fuck about who you like. No different from people trying to say the fact that he went 6 rounds with AJ is not no moral victory. You ran for 6 rounds. If that motherfucker went in there and fought for 6 rounds and got knocked out, I would say I give him credit for going in there doing what he was supposed to do. I still don't like the motherfucker, and I still don't respect how he got there. That changes nothing. But at least I could say, fuck that. At least the reality would be, oh, he went there and he tried. That motherfucker went there and ran. How much fucking, he has incredible heart. You motherfuckers are some, y'all some silly gooses, man. That's what you call incredible heart. I'm going to go in there and just run. Is that, so let me ask you something. So Jared Anderson and all his sparring partners, is that what they worked on? Yo, just go in here and run. Just go in here and run. Don't fight back. Just go run. You know, I remember the one sparring session he had where you see he was throwing punches with his head was way down here and his arms up here. And I'm like, yep, typical novice motherfucker that don't know how to box. And you can see, I don't care how many fights he's had so far. He can't box, period. You got fighters that never went to the Olympics that only got 15 pro fights. That's far better than this motherfucker. You got people right now that he won't fight because they're too dangerous for him. And the fact that he lost to Tommy Fury, and y'all talk about Tommy Fury like he's the worst boxer ever, but he lost to this motherfucker. Yeah, but he don't have a lot of, man, we know he don't. We already know this. This is the whole thing. You're telling us what we already know, and we're telling you his limitations is going to come into play. It didn't take Anthony Joshua to do it. Tommy Fury already beat him. It didn't take Anthony Joshua. This motherfucker was scared for Hassan Rahman to be, he couldn't be over 220. This motherfucker was scared for him, or 225, whatever it was, 220. He was scared. He didn't even want Hassan, he was scared of Hassan Rahman Jr. trying to drain people. And remember, this is the same guy that sat here and said he don't agree with the decision that AJ coming in at 245. What you mean a decision? You know how stupid that sounds? You're trying to make us think that Anthony Joshua just said, hey man, to make it fair to you, or for whatever reason, let me just put a catch weight on. No, that was you. He said AJ is better at 260. 250. He said because that's why AJ got where he was, because of his size and strength. So in other words, he's not a good fighter. He said he had better skills than AJ. He said all of this shit. Y'all not going to hold him accountable to what he said. Y'all going to keep making excuses for his record, but y'all was actually questioning AJ and believing that he had a chance to beat AJ. You see how you guys are. So now when we talk about a fight like this, with a guy like Deontay Wilder, who has basically not done anything in a very long time. This is the guy he's supposed to be fighting, Usyk. What does this do? You understand something about these fighters, right? They put themselves in a position to get big paydays. You think Anthony Joshua is not in that category where everything he wants is a big pay? Of course, because these guys, especially now when they're coming to what they call the tail end of their career, yes. Yes. None of us sit here can say we ever at one point in our lives thought we'd see AJ versus Jake Paul. But here we are now. Usyk versus Wilder. But you understand what I'm saying? Go out there and make your money, Usyk. Go out there and make your money, Wilder. What's happening is people like myself and other people who grew up in this shit and really respect boxing is less interested in what's actually happening on the screen. Yeah. What's happening in that ring. And I don't care about all of the back and forth banter, all of the accusations and all of the insults. That doesn't make the fight. So all of that bullshit that people are saying, this generation don't care about truth, logic, and reason, and that's what I built this channel on. They care about bullshit. As I said in the previous video, people were literally saying, I don't care if the fight is fixed as long as it's entertaining. That's this generation. Who in the fuck respects a fixed fight? Who? Let me give you guys a scenario. I want to compare something. I want you to look at it because, I already know there's people that get it, but there's a lot of dumb people out here. Let's say, for example, there was a vicious dog, or what appeared to be a vicious dog. And the dog is running around in the corner. And a little kid comes outside. And the dog goes for the kid. And I run over there and I jump and tackle the dog and roll around and I pin the dog down and save the little girl. You call me a hero, right? Right? Because I didn't have to do that. But I'd be damned if I was going to stand by and watch this child get hurt, right? You agree that's a hero, right? That was a heroic thing to do. But what if it turns out that I set it up? That's my dog. And even though my dog is vicious, I see this little girl walking, and I'm going to position myself to get over there and save her from this dog. And I run over there and tackle the dog and roll around. I'm holding the dog down. But what y'all don't realize is that this is my dog. It's not going to try to do anything to me. And I'm a grown adult, so I can hurt the dog, but I'm not going to let the dog hurt the girl. So now I'm being called a hero because I saved this little girl. Huh? So how much of a hero am I now if I set this whole thing up from the very beginning? It's not a hero at all, am I? Let that sink in. This is where boxing is right now. And strategically, people sit behind the scenes and try to put fights together that make the best business sense. It has nothing to do with the best fighters. And this is why this era, why you've had to this very day, no Shakur versus Tank Davis. No Teofimo versus Tank Davis. No Teofimo versus Shakur. You know which that's the fight that's supposed to be happening, right? After all these years. That's why you haven't had all of these fights. That's why you never got, Triple G versus Andre Ward. But at the same time, you're always talking about Floyd should go up. A motherfucker who started at 126 pounds to go all the way up to light heavyweight to fight Andre Ward. But y'all wasn't making that same demand for Triple G. This is why you never got Canelo versus Andre Ward. I can go on, even right now, fights that still haven't happened. And all these fighters do is get in front of cameras and go into entertainment mode. Just like, for example, Richard Hitchinson and Keyshawn Davis in each other's faces and back and forth. And Richard tried to act all tough. He was sitting up there with the racist Lopez, laughing and talking and smiling with him, but try to act tough when he in front of another black fighter. But at the end of the day, yeah, this is what he was doing. This is what he was doing. Now, let's see if Richard Hitchinson and Keyshawn Davis fight early 2026 like they said. He win, but win. No, see, talk. Now, do I personally care? No, because I don't have the interest that I used to. But given this boxing news has gotten to the point where it's like all this shit is just to look good in front of the cameras. People don't really mean what they say. And again, when you have a fight, you have to have an undercard. And when you don't have a good undercard, and then you have a main event that don't live up to the hype, what does it do for the sport? Well, that's why I only watch it when they come on Netflix, or why I only, watch it when Turkey Al-Sheikh does. See, people pick and choose. I've heard people sit there. This is a different time. When we grew up watching basketball, we used to get up early, hit the park, ball, go home, shower, eat, watch whatever NBA games is coming on, hit the park again. Go out there, right? I'm hearing people now sitting up on TikTok and all. Yo, why you ain't watching such and such? Oh, they suck. Who they playing? I don't know, some random ass team. Damn, that's not what the word random means. None of these teams are random. These teams are either in the NFL or in the NBA. You mean random? Like they just threw some team together and okay, this is a new NBA team. No, they're playing some bum ass team. So now you guys just pick and choose what games you watch because you're calling teams bums and random and stupid shit like that. Nobody knows how to enjoy anything. People argue over everything that they do. You understand? So the categories are just basically based on if I like this or not. A football fan watch football, not just the team that they like. Otherwise, you're not really a football fan. You watch the team you like play because you're from that town or whatever the fuck or whatever, but you're not really a football fan. And then when the team you like lose, you make excuses as usual. And this is what the time that everything is excuses. Nobody want to just say, you know what, the better man won. I lost. Let it go. Nope. And if they do say it, the next day or 2 days later, they have a whole story as to what went wrong before they got in the ring and all this bullshit. So you know what? What's going to be is going to be. So if it's Wilder versus Usyk, then it's Wilder versus Usyk. It is what it is. But nothing is what it used to be. And then ask yourself this question. When Usyk finally does walk away, when there is no AJ, when there is no Terrence Crawford, who's the next crop of fighters right now that you look at that you think got promise? That person is going to be the person that's going to deliver big fights. I don't care how much money these motherfuckers make. I'm not here to check their pockets or their bank accounts. No, that's their job to worry about that. I'm saying who is going to be the fighters that, hey, man, these guys put on great fights. And who? Because as long as these promoters is just money hungry and that's it, When are these fights going to happen? And there are no more superstars in boxing. There's just guys that got a lot of mouth. Some of them can fight. Some of them can't really fight that good. Some of them can dish it out but can't take it. Most of them, pretty much, they all do the same things. And now when a fight happens, it's not like it used to be. And you can tell who's popular and who's not. Example, when Pitbull fought Tank Davis, people talked about that fight and the results forever. Pitbull just fought the guy that beat Tank Davis, but they called it a draw. And is anybody still talking about that fight? Do you see videos and videos and videos? Nope. Different day and time, y'all. So it is what it is. And like I said, man, I'm not looking at Usyk versus Wilde like it's the worst fight you can possibly put together. You don't know until the fight happens. And really, I don't personally care. But all of this talk that people do about, legacy and earning your spot and all that, man, listen, I'd rather you be honest and say what the truth is, man. Listen, I fight and I fight to win. But hey, if that money not right, then I don't really want that fight. Because I got to put my body through grueling training camps and put more wear and tear on myself just to go there and fight a junk fight. Nah. But that's the way it's always been done. You fight and you earn your keep. Have there been fighters that got favoritism and all? Yeah, of course. But you understand, a real fighter want to fight. This is the business you chose. You chose this. So when you go in there and you talk shit all through up to the build up, all the press conference and all that, but fight night, all of a sudden, like when I hear a person say this, I don't know what else I got to do to earn my respect. How about you fight real competition? Because until you do that, your respect is coming from popularity, from a podcast, from a YouTube channel, from a Disney channel, from anything other than actual boxing. And then here's a bunch of excuses after you get beat. And I only want to fight a guy that I think I can beat. But I'm telling you, I'm the best in the world or one of the best in the world. But who is it? Don't you guys always say every fighter supposed to think they can beat everybody? Yeah. Okay. And then once again, this even goes back to, like I said, when you look at like Lomachenko versus Devin Haney, nobody talked about, this dude only 23, 24, whatever. He's still young, man. He's there with Lomachenko and they went the distance and this was a back and forth fight. Now, nobody said that. Lomachenko had way more amateur fights and everything. He got more experience than Devin, even just that, whatever, even though Devin got more pro fights or just as many or whatever the fuck. No, nobody said that about his age, but y'all made excuses for Canelo's age for getting his ass beat by Floyd. You understand what I'm saying? And when we've had a champion like Wilfredo Benitez, stop talking like Wilfredo Benitez wasn't human or something. 17 years old. He was a kid. This dude wasn't even a grown man yet. You ain't hear nobody making excuses for him when he lost. Different mindset. These dudes are not warriors. They're fashion models. They're divas. They're soft. Usyk, I respect as a fighter. Let's look at Wilde, for example. Wilde didn't have a long amateur career. Wilde came into the pros. When he won the title, he was still fighting guys ranked 500, 400. I already pulled this shit up. Okay, as the champion. Wilde was fighting guys that wasn't even ranked. So when he finally started to step up in competition to fight guys that was basically ain't did much of shit, the Gerald Washingtons, the Duhampas, and people like that. And then the best fighter on his resume was, what's his name, Luis Ortiz, right? And who was up in age and wasn't the same or whatever, but never accomplished shit, really. Just won some fights, that's it. When you look at it, what I'm saying, at least fucking Wilder was fighting pro fighters, even though a whole bunch of them was horrendous, and you don't even know what the fuck they are. You understand what I'm saying? But it wasn't about, let me fight dudes that ain't never fought in boxing. And how the fuck you going, this is what I'm saying. How the fuck you going to sit here and knock a Floyd for fighting a Conor McGregor when this was boxing versus an MMA guy who thought he could come in? Floyd is too small. He's going to do this. He used to them smaller gloves. He's going to hit Floyd with shot Floyd ain't used to. And then he gets his ass whooped. Now all of a sudden the excuses about, but he ain't never, right. But here's a guy who fight guys way older than him that ain't never boxed, that he had the edge on, even just in youth. But bottom line, let's make excuses for him. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? So if you look at Deontay Wilder, well, at least when Wilder fought Fury, and regardless to the cherry picks, what I'm saying, at least you can say these guys are getting there fighting world-class guys. It's not about the guy got to be 25 years older than me, or no. It's about at some point you got to put up or shut up. So when I told you guys, when Wilder step up in competition, he's going to get beaten, he's going to look bad, and then it happens. Yeah, but it's just always, let's move the goalposts with you motherfuckers, right? When I say the same thing about Jake Paul, everybody should have common sense to know that the whole thing was, when is he going to actually fight somebody that's serious? To know that he only chose AJ because he thought AJ was so washed up that AJ wasn't going to be able to, he was going to find, he's going to be able to outquick and outmove AJ. He found out when he got in there, damn, this shit ain't as easy as I thought, and he was terrified. He ran. But you guys, y'all make Jake Paul sound like he is actually in there fighting world-class dudes. He's in there fighting dudes. Like, if you fight certain guys and this is the level you on, and then you say, okay, it's just like, for example, once you break into the top 10, ain't no going back fighting number 30, fight number 45. What the fuck you fighting them for? No, you want to stay in the top 10. It's simple, right? So the whole thing is, this is not play shit. This generation it is. You got people out here scrounging for money. You got fighters that's in there that can't get the fight simply because they're not a big draw. You got fighters that's trying to get to that point and they're being overlooked. But all you got to do is be popular on YouTube or some shit. Some social media shit, and all of a sudden, I started going to the gym to train a little, and yeah, man, how about we put you in there with a guy that's like 65 years old, that ain't want to fight in like 8 years, let's do this, and then talk some shit and talk you up, and hey, man, as long as you win, then hey, right? That's why they never bring the Tommy Fury loss up. They don't want to talk about what's real. They want to try to camouflage shit. You understand what I'm saying? So how is it, though? My point, whether it's Wilder, whether it's Jake Paul, whether anybody who hasn't actually earned, that actually hasn't earned a position to be where they are, you don't care. But Wilder is in there fighting actual pro boxers. And it has nothing to do with age so much. It's just, they were hand-picking people, yes, and all of that. But I'm saying, like the last guy that was ranked 238 and all that shit, that guy, come on, man. How long did it take Wilder to knock him out? Are you guys saying that Wilder is washed up and finished and this is an embarrassment? Is Wilder, anybody said that guy didn't lose? He just learned? Or did he, you understand what I'm saying? Stop it. All the excuses that people come up with to try to feel better about themselves when they don't perform properly or they lose a fight. So there's no such thing as law. You don't lose, you learn. Yeah, all right, whatever. Now, saying that in a sense of you don't have a defeated mentality, okay, cool. I can agree that that's a cool way to understand, but you have to understand, no, you lost. All that technology don't mean nothing. That self-technology is bullshit. You lost. And not only is it on your record, whether you got knocked out or whether that's the rules. You couldn't get up for the 10 count. You got knocked the fuck out. You lost. And the fact of the matter is, if you believe you don't lose, you learn, then that means your ass should learn and know you should be in the gym training like you're supposed to. You should be doing film study. You should not be skipping your workouts and taking it serious. So how the fuck is it you don't lose, you learn, but your training methods are the same? Winners don't need it. You don't hear winners say shit like that. You only hear losers say shit like that. You don't lose, you learn. Not the winners. People always say a fighter is only going to be better. They're going to learn from that and they're going to come back. And then it's not a guarantee. And then when you see that fighters do come back stronger and better, okay, cool. But then you also see fighters that disappear. You don't see them for a while. They come back. They look terrible. Or they jump right back in it. They look terrible. So no, it's not a guarantee for just everybody. But I'm telling you right now, if you believe in yourself, and you understand that it's possible that you can lose, but losing is not an option. You're not there to lose. The tougher your mindset, the better. Being delusional is something different. It's something different. So, case in point, no, I'm not against Wilder versus Usyk. It does nothing for me. It's you know, and it's not my life, it's theirs. So I don't take any of this shit personal. But this is why my interest in boxing is not like it was, because this is the type of fights that boxing don't really need. But somebody will find value in it, and which like a Wilder fan or Usyk fan that want to see the fight. I just feel like, it's no longer about earning fights. Like I said, it's that, and I see this shit. I'm watching. I'm studying that shit. I'm seeing what's happening. If you're not a big draw, we don't care how fast your hands are. We don't care that you can slip punches with your hand down and make a motherfucker. We don't care about any of that. All we care about is, can you put asses in seats? That's what Bob Arum's frustration with Terrence Crawford was for a long time. And it took Terrence Crawford to be towards the end of his career to finally, to like really get to that point and get that Canelo fight. And then, you understand what I mean? But, hey, a fighter that was considered the best fighter, pound for pound in the game, and his own manager was sitting there saying, I don't care if he leave, let him leave. He can't draw anyway, right? You understand what I'm saying? And I heard, like I said, I don't remember, I think it was Pacquiao's guy. Somebody in his camp made the comment that they didn't want Pacquiao versus Crawford because Crawford fights similar to Floyd, and you see how that fight went. People thought it was a boring fight. They was trying to get the Adrian Broner fight. Wait, is Adrian Broner a better fighter than Crawford? Okay, we know the answer to that, right? Would you rather pick Adrian Broner? Now, does that sound like legacy is involved? Or a fighter that will get in there and pretty much won't be able to beat Pacquiao, but has respect on his name and still had fans believing he still was going to be able to somehow bounce back and all of a sudden become a better Adrian? No, legacy had nothing to do with that. And bottom line is, this trainer of this fighter don't care about the legacy of this fighter unless they're real fight heads, because it's like they're going to share the ring. Remember how they did documentaries and, you know, Frazier talking about his bouts with Ali and vice versa, and forming all that. Who's doing this shit now with these fighters? No, they don't, because they don't care about it. That's the whole point. Nothing is about the sport of boxing to keep it alive and keep it strong and keep. No, it's all about, as long as money's coming in and those live gates and those streaming numbers are big, that's all we care about. The pay-per-view number, that's all it's about. We don't care about boxing itself. People come for the entertainment. This is where we are. So stop telling yourselves anything about legacy. This is a different day and time. It's done. It's all about money. And if it just so happens that two guys who are still in their primes do finally get together, then okay, cool. Because even if we get Fury versus AJ, can we say we're getting the best versions of both guys right now? So this is just a fight to say, hey, it happened, finally. Somebody won, somebody lost, or possible draw. Anyway, it is what it is. Tell me what y'all think. Deontay Wilder versus Alexander Usyk. Are y'all in? Y'all think this fight is just another fight, long overdue? Y'all think Wilder gonna come back a better fighter? Damn near 40 years old, both guys. That's all I got for you guys. Catch y'all on the next video.